On the international game, both basketball and golf and IP theft were an issue you brought up. How do you think that American sports are doing at sort of globalizing? Obviously NBA jerseys are sold abroad, but not many people here watch the great game between the U.S. and Turkey in the final of the international championships. Great NBA stars on display around the world. Do you think that we are doing a good enough job of, as a business of sports, taking advantage of global markets?
One of the great lessons in life in competition is to respect the opposition. Right now, the opposition in sport, in basketball, has not earned our respect because they're just not good enough. Spain is the best country, and one day Spain will beat the United States. They had the United States in Beijing. In the gold medal game, they had them the other day in an exhibition game leading up to the World Championship. But Turkey's best player wouldn't even be asked to try out for the U.S. national team. And that could be said about most countries. But from a business perspective, that's where the growth is. And that's why the NBA has been in China for 10 years, and what Yao Ming has meant to the NBA, and the NBA is now going to India, and the marketing and the business. And one of the things that the NBA was brilliant at, what the U.S. used to be brilliant at, was exporting knowledge. For 10 years in the NBA, in the 90s, every month, a 4-person team, Hubie Brown, Jack Ramsey, Calvin Murphy, and me, we went to different countries every month. They brought the entire country together, all the sports administrators, all the coaches, all the teachers, all the leaders, no matter what sport, they brought all there, and we put on a week-long clinic about how to build, how to learn, how to teach, how to do everything. Then that program stopped. Now in that time, Tony Parker comes from France. They have a terrific program now. Dirk Nowitzki comes from Germany. All the guys from Argentina. These are all the places we went. The guys from Australia, the guys from Brazil. These are all the places that we went. And now they have new stars coming up. Now whether that's going to translate into local leagues there being good enough. Granted, we have such a huge advantage that we have so many players who grow up playing basketball. But we talked about the STEM problem in our own public schools. We have our own problems in the world of developing our own young athletes because the current system just does not work. It's too organized, it's too structured, and there's no free play. All the great innovation doesn't happen by just force feeding ideas and cramming it into your mind. No, you have to have that time. Just as important as hard work is in physical fitness, rest is important. In terms of creativity, you have to take that moment and step back and close your eyes like Tchaikovsky did and listen to those sounds and come up with that new song. And our young players are not doing that right now. Our young players, video games, constantly playing, always organized, referees, parents, deans, all the time. No free play. And what we're trying to ask from you folks in the world of innovation, which is what this is all about, help us stimulate that new idea. Help us to grow, help us to build. And we're being US and San Diego centric here, but what we do here today has huge impact around the rest of the world. Because right now, what we're selling, we're not selling the Chinese leagues in China, we're selling the NBA. The NBA and AEG, they are building 20 Staples centers around the country of China for what's next. And India is going to be next. Now, whether the players come out of India, who are all playing cricket right now, how many new players will be coming out of China? But 300 million people in China play basketball. 300 million. They're all NBA fans. If each one of those guys bought an NBA licensed logo product that was protected from piracy through your efforts in IP and trademarks and patents, then we're talking something really special here. Well, the business keeps on rolling on. But right now, the rest of the world, they have so many problems and just not enough players. Our second level players are going to go over there, but with a great coach and a great leader. And that's what you are to us. Yes, sir, in the back.
Were you afraid that the Startup Visa Act might force entrepreneurs to depend too much on investors?
Dwayne?
Ask it again.
The Startup Visa Act, are you afraid it might force entrepreneurs to depend too much on investors?
we rely on investors.
Right.
We have to have investors. But
Yeah.
we have to build our companies too. I mean, it's not the only thing. It's not just the money. I mean, it's the idea as well. Wayne?
So I think this takes advantage of the fact that many of these very creative people in other parts of the world have little chance to commercialize because it's just foreign. Entrepreneurship is so foreign that if you give them the chance to come to the U.S., bring their business with them, hire people locally, and the investment part of it is $150,000 from home, matched by $100,000 from our angel money. So once you get $250,000, hire 5 people, you're in business. I'll give you a good example. A guy from Bordeaux, France, is starting a new wireless health IT company. He came to a meeting in San Diego, got on a plane, flew back, told all those people we're moving to San Diego. Because we can't do what we're doing in Bordeaux. It's a great place for wine, but it's not a great place for IT. So he's moving his company. So we should be doing that all the time. Take them very bright. This guy happens to be an MD, PhD, trained at MIT, and then goes back to Bordeaux. He can't do what he wants to do. So that's why we need to do that. Why not take these people? Immigrants is what most of these immigrants.
One of the things about my life, I mean, I have had, my life has been a long straight strip. I mean, it has been just all over the place. And now I'm with Dwayne and Tim and Connect and SDSI. And I come home from work every day, and my wife looks at me and she said, "Why are you so happy?" And I said, "You would not believe the people who I met today and their ideas and all the different things that they're doing and all these dreams and visions and new companies and plans and inventions and technology and all this remarkable stuff." And I'm just the luckiest guy in the world. And I look at her and I say, "Where else could I find such splendid company?" Yes.
Dwayne, you
Hi.
have been before
How are you, Derek?
with Senator Boxer's office. Glad to have our constituency. And for one question, it sounded like you talked about teamwork. It seems like one issue that Connect has addressed, and especially in the startup world, there was historically has been sort of a creative destruction where the founder or the engineer who invented the idea sort of came up with the idea that can only go so far, then business people would sort of take over the business and the founder sort of went by the wayside. But it sounds like you're putting in programs and different things to sort of educate founders or inventors as to the business side so that they can stay a part of the viable business. In other words, you're creating very much of a teamwork atmosphere.
That's what we do in that when they come into our Connect offices, and all day long, I mean, they are just people coming in the door with ideas. And then we sit there, we meet with them, and then we move them on in the next direction. And generally it's to our main man, Ruprecht, who runs the Springboard program, which is the signature program of Connect, which gets them all these different ideas to the business level. And then along the way, they're exposed to all these different leaders who come and volunteer. We have over 2,000 volunteer entrepreneurs in residence, guys who are coming in to contribute to the Connect Dream program and vision and help these new guys get started. Because, are there any other parents in this room besides me? Is there anything greater in life than seeing the smile on the face of a young person? And when that person is your child, that's what these companies are. They're your family. And that's what we do. We just help them along the way. And we educate them about the problems of don't have your company stolen by the sharks out there.
Yeah, I think to answer the question, it's much more sophisticated today. And there's plenty of help and advice available in areas like ours and other places around the country. We need more of it. But the other thing that's true is very few scientists and engineers aspire to start companies today. That's changed because they understand it's one thing to be the idea person, it's another thing to do the sort of boring work of getting it ready to commercialize. So how you bring those together, I think, is something we've been pretty efficient at, as have other regions, and it really takes a group of people behind these ideas.